What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. It's Radio Baloney Live. Radio Baloney Live Friday night. The Friday night live stream. I am your host, Richie Baloney. Xerxes, good to see you in the chat already. Has anyone seen the Matt Walsh trailer? You know what? I've got it saved up for later in the show. I haven't actually watched it myself. I wanted to watch it with everybody else. But we've got that coming up. Don't you worry. So I hope everybody's had a great week. I've had a very nice week. Exercise and sun. Those are all good things. Lots and lots and lots of politics. Lots and lots of news. There is a ton for us to get through tonight. A ton. You know, I'm starting to do 3 live shows a week now, and I thought, well, am I going to run out of material? Apparently not now. Maybe at some point in the future, but there's a lot, and it's just crazy. There's so much crazy going on. All right, what are we going to talk about? All right, well, apparently we've got the gayest Olympics ever happening right now. It looks to me like the transiest Olympics ever, or maybe the first trans Olympics, because the whole thing just seems to be just obsessed with trans. I don't know. It's like the Western world. It's like the Western world is just saying to the rest of the world, just come and destroy us. This is what we've become. It's not going to get any better from here. Just come and destroy us. Our time has passed. Now, this stuff is all top down, of course. All the stuff that we see, the culture stuff is top down. It's not, I don't think your average French person is obsessed with trans so much that they want to turn their Olympics into the men with bearded men in dresses games. But the elites seem to have like a death wish for Western civilization. Anyway, so I got a comment in one of my videos a couple of days ago asking, why don't I do, I think it was the Kamala Harris is a drunk train wreck video. And somebody said in the comments, why don't you do something on Project 2025? So I did. We're doing that tonight. It's actually 890 pages, Project 2025. I downloaded it a couple of days ago. Obviously, I haven't read it all, or even a small part of it. I mean, it's huge. It's 890 pages. Anybody? I had a friend tell me that they'd read Project 2025, and I realized once I downloaded and saw how many pages it is. No, I think what people have seen is they've seen tweets and things on tweets, claims that people are making on X, I guess posts on X. So I think very, very few people have actually read the whole thing. I saw a clip with Michael Tracy, and I think he actually has read it. He was interviewing one of the guys from Project 2025. But It's not something that I was really that interested in because Trump has said it's got nothing to do with us. It's from the Heritage Foundation. They're one of many, many, many think tanks in the United States. It seemed like the left just kind of grabbed something from a think tank and said, this is Trump's and it's evil. Well, we'll take a look. We'll see just how evil it is. From what I've seen so far in my searches in there, it doesn't appear to actually be evil at all. It just seems to be kind of conservative stuff. But of course, to the modern left, just normal conservative stuff is evil. I'm sure as I go through it further, I'll find some things I disagree with. I don't agree with everybody on anything, but it seems to be a bit overblown to me. So we'll go through that. We'll go through the online reaction to this and the fear mongering. It turns out that, and these are all the stories that we're going to do tonight. It turns out that the FBI has confirmed that Trump was indeed struck by a bullet. So they confirmed the thing that everybody saw. They confirmed the video that everybody has seen, like 8 billion people have seen. So thanks for that. This is after Christopher Wray, the FBI director, was in Congress, and he said, well, I don't know, maybe it was like shrapnel or something. Maybe it wasn't a bullet. Just out of nowhere. He just offered it up out of nowhere. Seemed a bit strange to me. Seemed a bit odd, especially with this whole the Democrats transitioning to Kamala Harris, and then the media's just going on a full-out propaganda campaign to try and convince everybody that she's competent. And Ray comes out with this statement that's just totally unbidden, but would seem to be perhaps minimizing or diminishing the event of Trump's assassination attempt. But anyway, FBI came out and immediately said, the FBI, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They immediately say, yes, he was struck by a bullet. I guess maybe the response from Christopher Wray obviously allowing that to happen. He's the director of the FBI. But anyway, you can't, it's also obvious and transparent. Let's see, Trump's going back to Butler again. He's just a madman, isn't he? I mean, he really is. I mean, he's a badass. He's going back to Butler again. I mean, this is a defiant man, a very defiant, courageous man. I mean, we've seen that he's been willing to face down everything they've been throwing at him through lawfare and all of that. But I mean, we're seeing actual physical courage here, which you wouldn't expect from a politician. All right. Another story. Trans cyclist wins first, second, third place in Washington Women's Grand Prix race. Yikesies. When are women going to say something? Apparently they just don't care. But anyway, we'll get into that. Yes, we're going to look at all of the stuff that I've curated over the last few days on X that we'll take a look at. There's all kinds of things. Look at this. There's things with animals. There's stuff with Elon Musk. There's stuff with the Trans Olympics in Paris. We got Jordan Peterson in there. We're going to take a look at that. This is why the streams take so long. This is why they're like 4.5 hours on Fridays. We got so much. Look at that bearded man in women's clothing in Paris at the Olympics. For some reason, they thought that was a good idea. Let's see. Of course, we're going to have stuff. What's going on here? Well, we got some community notes from X on media lying, which they always do. Look at this professional tag. What are your thoughts on that? My take on this might be surprising to you. But all kinds of things. We've got the decline of Western civilization. We got more animal stuff, which is fun. We've got oversized, very large. We've got large people, plus size people, healthy at any size people that are they struggle to find chairs at restaurants that they can sit in, because apparently, that's something restaurants need to be thinking about, because anyway, look at that. She's not happy, but that's not a comfy chair. Oh dear, that doesn't work. Thumbs down on that normal size person chair. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris. We're going to talk lots about Kamala Harris. We're going to go through lots of stuff and the media freaking out and All of a sudden, she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's all very wonderful for the media. They didn't always say the most wonderful things about her, but apparently now she's the best thing ever. She's going to be the best president ever, according to them. They love her. It is a full-on just propaganda frenzy. And what can you do? Well, we'll talk about it, and we'll prevent ourselves from being brainwashed. How about that? Let's see what we got here. We got some more stuff from the Trump assassination. It's all just so unbelievable. It's unbelievable that anybody would be expected to think, to believe that this was just, a series of mistakes. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Just seems way, way, way too unlikely to me. And of course, we've got Grok versus Trudeau, which is just getting harder and harder every week. Every week, if you've never been here before, every week, I get Grok, which is the Twitter AI, to write a poem about Justin Trudeau. There must be two details in this poem. One, Trudeau must wear blackface at some point, and also he must get a vaginoplasty surgery as well. And there's all kinds of scenarios that we put him in. This one is, I think, a really good one. Now, it's getting harder and harder to do this because I'm doing it every week until Justin Trudeau is no longer in office. And then, oh God, I hope they call an early election somehow, because otherwise I got to keep doing this every week until next October. Which is, I'm telling you, it's getting tough. It's getting tough. I might have to change the parameters a little bit. I mean, there's only so many scenarios where you can have Trudeau wearing blackface and getting a vaginoplasty. I think I've been pretty creative so far, but it's getting tough. Why won't the guy just step down? I don't know. Anyway, here we are. So the truth about Project 2025. So this is from their own website. And what they're trying to do is counter what they're saying is a bunch of misinformation about this plan. So this was something I didn't really want to get into because I figured it was going to be pretty in-depth. I didn't realize it was 890 pages. But I already knew that Trump had, he said that it has nothing to do with him. It's not his agenda. Obviously, anything that comes out of a conservative think tank, there's going to be some overlap because they're conservative, right? Trump's Republican. So of course there's going to be something. But he's saying, like, no, this has nothing to do with me. So is there any real need to spend like a week or 2 weeks going through this thing with a fine-tooth comb if it's totally irrelevant and it doesn't matter? And again, I was requested to do something on this. I downloaded it a couple of days ago. We'll take a look. I've actually got it. Where is it? Hold on a second. I've got it in a. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So I've actually got it downloaded here in a format where, oh, what's going on? Well, this isn't getting off to an illustrious beginning. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Okay, so we can search through this document if it will actually work. Why is this not working? An illustrious beginning. All right. Oh, this is saying that it's locked. How do I unlock it? Just give me 1 second, you guys. Hold on. I'm just going to pause for 1 second. All right, there we go. There we go. So we can look through this. We can type in, I typed in Medicare, and we can find all the mentions of Medicare. There's some stuff that I've done on this. And anyway, so now we can continue. All right, sorry about that. Terrible way to start the stream. Xerxes says, I tried to read it, and my eyes just glazed over. Yeah, that's the problem. It's just this dry policy thing, right? But very, very long. Raider Streamer says, I made it. I got the first like. Thank you, sir. It is good karma. Extremely good karma. You've done well for yourself there. So this is just a policy piece from a think tank, a conservative think tank. And there are lots of those. Like here, look at all these think tanks. Lots of them. All conservative think tanks. Amongst, I'm sure, dozens more, right? So for some reason, and well-known ones, for some reason, they just decided to pick one of them, to just pick one think tank, and they're, because this is what the think tanks do. They write this sort of thing. They write like policy papers. They write like this is a project of transition for the new president, for the Trump presidency, right? They do this. Left-wing think tanks, of which there's a billion, they also do the same thing. So this is just a trick. This is a trick from the left to just grab something, right? It's really about the name Project 2025. They think, oh, well, that might sound ominous. Let's make up a bunch of lies, just make up a bunch of stuff, and then we'll say that's Trump's plan. They could have just picked any think tank. It doesn't really matter. But this is typically what they do. JDL is a second like. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so what are they talking about? So let's take a look at the hysteria around this project that Trump says, I have nothing to do with this. In fact, let's hear it from Trump himself. Here we go.
Are you ready? I know nothing about Project 25. I haven't seen the document. I don't intend to really see the document. And it's a group of people that got together that wrote some kind of a dream document for them. But it has absolutely nothing to do with me. And it's just disinformation, Brian, by the Democrats. It's pure disinformation. Are you ready?
So there you have it. It's something written by a think tank, and that's what they do. They're a conservative think tank. It's Heritage Foundation. They've been around forever. Like the day before they decided that Project 2025 was the scariest thing that's ever happened, right? Why weren't they ranting about the Heritage Foundation were fascists and going to destroy the government then? I mean, I'm sure they didn't like them because they say that, I mean, they actually say that about anybody, right? But if they were this existential threat to the United States, maybe they would have noticed sooner. So what is the hysterics? I just got a little bit of it here. Let's see. Project 2024 is to never let Project 2025 happen. Those motherfuckers have lost their fucking minds. It's 890 pages. Do you think that this guy has read it? What percentage of people have actually read it or read any of it? Or have just seen things that have been posted on Twitter? Like here. Like this, they just say a bunch of bullshit and they go, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm telling you, how many of these critics have actually read Project 2025? I'm guessing it's near zero. It's 890 pages, 890 of dry policy stuff. That's it. I mean, look, and here's the thing. It's also irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Trump's saying it has nothing to do with me. I'm sure there's things in there that Trump would want to do because they're conservative. It's a Heritage Foundation. It's not the Third Reich, for fuck's sakes. It's just a normal conservative think tank. They do this. Again, here, think tanks in the United States. There's lots of them. Lots and lots of them. And there's like a million left-wing ones too, and they all do the same thing. They just really, really are shameless. Really shameless. The media and the Democrats and just the left in general, they've just become totally and utterly shameless. Looks like we got Xerxes in the stream, in the chat. Good to see ya. Radio Streamer says they act like it's Mein Kampf. Exactly. But everything is, right? Everything. Trump can just say anything, and that's Mein Kampf. You can say, I don't know about this whole sex changes for children thing. Mein Kampf. That's the exact same thing as invading Poland. Look at this. Who needs rights? We have wombs and kitchens. How deranged do you have to be to think that the Heritage Foundation wants to deny women's rights? They want to keep them just in the kitchen, just pregnant in the kitchen. They want to turn it into the Handmaid's Tale. That's their plan. I guess it's just the constant tsunami hitting them over and over and over again of propaganda, of ludicrous, hysterical propaganda. I guess it works. I guess it works for some people, although, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. But they don't need to fool all of them either. That's the problem. All right. How about this one? Somebody called Ann Kim. Project 2025 has some messed up ideas about the right kind of family you should have. From page 451. Let's see. Goal number 3, promoting stable and flourishing married families. Well, that sounds terrifying. Families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. Whoa, that's crazy. What kind of extremism is that? That's messed up. That's a messed up idea. Messed up idea. And I was shocked to see that the New York Times has the exact same messed up idea about about the right kind of family, as if they're saying it's the right kind. This is not a positive development. The evidence is overwhelming. Children from single-parent homes have more behavioral problems and more likely to get in trouble in school or with the law, achieve lower levels of education, and tend to earn lower incomes in adulthood. Boys from homes without dads present are particularly prone to getting in trouble in school or with the law. Well, thanks for telling us all something we already knew, New York Times. Of course, the point isn't that it's all cases. It's the average. It's the mean. It's the trend. Maybe Ann Kim needs to write to the editor of the New York Times about their messed up ideas. I mean, it's just something that everybody knows. Let's see, what other horrifying messed up ideas are in this? Unfortunately, family policies and programs under President Biden's Health and Human Services are fraught with agenda items focusing on LGBTQ plus equity, subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work, and penalizing marriage. These policies should be repealed and replaced by policies that support the formation of stable, married, nuclear families. That's what any sane society would do, obviously. Don't ask me. New York Times. Explosive rise of single-parent families, not a good thing. New York Times. Write a letter to the editor. So, family policies and programs under President Biden's HHS are fraught with agenda items. Well, it's all woke. I mean, it cares. Obviously, it's going to be dominated by wokeness. It's going to be dominated by a refusal to recognize reality in favor of just kind of nice woke platitudes and virtue signaling. How about this one? This guy's old. He should know better. It looks like Musk is aiding racist and misogynistic tweets. They just got nothing else. Likely to make it easier for Putin and Trump to go their lowest against Kamala. So who's this guy? This is a astrophysicist, paleontologist, geologist. Come on. Engineer apparently as well. Also an engineer. outspoken liberal. Likely to make it easier for Putin and Trump to go their lowest against Kamala. That's right, because Trump and Putin are best friends. Best friends. Looks like Musk is aiding a racist and misogynistic tweets. Jesus Christ. You wonder why the world is failing. Astrophysicist, paleontologist, geologist. Well, I gotta feel like maybe those fields aren't sending their best. Let's see. Trump's project 2025. Make all birth control illegal. I can tell you right now that's not true. I haven't read all 890 pages. I can tell you that's not true. Got Social Security, cuts Medicare, total abortion ban, tax cuts for the rich, pecks our government with mega bootlickers, cripples unions, punishments for LGBTQ. It's all just bullshit. All just bullshit, except tax cuts for the rich. Well, I mean, I think, maybe a lower corporate tax rate is a typical conservative thing, which actually does seem to actually stimulate economies. So maybe not such a bad thing. It's weird. It's almost like the people with the heaviest educations, the astrophysicists, paleontologists and engineers and geologists. How is he all these things? He's an astrophysicist, paleontologist. Is this a joke? Is this a troll account? Like, is this a parody? Because how could astrophysicist, paleontologist, geologist, playwright, engineer, artist? That's what I'm wondering if is this a parody account? But it does seem like the people with the degrees that take a long time to get, the PhDs, they seem to be particularly vulnerable to propaganda. It seems to be a real social phenomenon. Let's see, how about this? Did you know that by drinking Coors beer, you are financially supporting Project 2025? The founder of Coors Beer, Joseph Coors, also founded the Heritage Foundation in 1973. Oh, he founded a conservative think tank. How terrifying. This is the extremist conservative group who, along with Donald Trump, created Project 2025. They're not extremists. Only a lunatic would think that. Only somebody who thinks that anybody who's one step to the right of them is a far-right extremist. I guess will this be, the same kind of impact as Dylan Mulvaney? I kind of doubt it. Let's see, your daily reminder what Project 2025 is and who's behind it. Ooh, terrifying. Trump's Project 2025. Let's see, purge the government of thousands of civil servants and replace them with unqualified far-right mega loyalists. If you're talking about maybe getting rid of a bunch of useless bureaucrats, I don't know, that doesn't sound like a terrible thing. Let's see, this is precious. Send the Justice Department after Trump's political enemies. Oh, the irony apparently is completely lost as always. Let's see. Yeah, so it's just a huge list here of all the things that are going to terrify everybody. Let's see. There was this one here, Trump's Project 2025, has some very creepy surveillance ideas about women's pregnancies. This is just about wanting to collect accurate data. That's it. Like every organization, every, ministry or office, it needs to collect accurate information, just like for funding reasons, all of that, just so they can actually say what they're doing. What are the state of things? The CDC's abortion surveillance and maternity mortality reporting system are woefully inadequate. CDC abortion data are reported by states on a voluntary basis, and California, Maryland, and New Hampshire do not submit abortion data at all. Accurate and reliable statistical data about abortion survivors, and abortion-related maternal deaths are essential to timely, reliable public health and policy analysis. That's the very creepy surveillance ideas. You have to collect data to know what you're doing and to be able to plan and to be able to fund. I mean, they're really, if it was really that terrifying, like they would have pulled out a quote from this by now that actually said something that was terrifying. This is the best that they can do. They're pro-family and they want to collect data for timely, reliable public health and policy analysis. See, this here seems relevant to me. This is the real Project 2025. Project 2025. And yes, the Democrats are making up a boogeyman that they can campaign on, which is just what happens every single time. What about this is worrying, though? Anyone who sleeps should know that Project 2025 will eliminate all pillows except my pillows. I'm sold. All right, let's get to the chat for a second here. Let's see. Xerxes says they're all liars. They say Trump will destroy social security. I did look that up. It's one of the parts I have managed to get through to, and yeah, that's a complete lie. It's about everything that they say they're going to destroy. That it's just reorganization, which anybody does that. Like left-wing think tanks write policy pieces on that. Conservative ones do. Administrations do that every single time a new one comes in. Nothing is shocking here. Kamala will do that when she puts all the illegals on free public services. There will be nothing left for us. Yeah, that's an excellent point. In fact, that gets some claps. Radio Streamer says he, and I think you're talking about Trump there, literally said he will never sign a federal abortion ban on several occasions, but it won't stop them because they don't mind lying. They're very happy to lie. All right. So let's get into this. So they, it's, what we're going to do quickly. No, screw it. I'll wait a little bit. I'll wait till there's more people in before I do an ad read. Okay. So Project 2025. So they have put out something to counter this stream of, propaganda, this hysterical outrage from the left. And let's take a look at it. The truth about Project 2025. The left has spent millions fear-mongering about Project 2025 because they're terrified of losing their elitist power. And they should be. Project 2025 offers a menu of solutions to the border crisis, inflation, a stagnant economy, and rampant crime. It shows how we can take on China, fix our schools, and support families. But most importantly, it dismantles the unaccountable deep state, taking power away from leftist elites and giving it back to the American people and duly elected president. Yes, I've seen this too, but they want to end the Constitution. That no conservative anywhere wants to do that. They want to preserve it. It's part of the whole being conservative thing. But again, they will say literally anything. All right. Project 2025 is not partisan, nor is it secret. Yeah, I get that's another thing. They were trying to promote it as this secret thing. It's actually from 2023, I believe, and it's been publicly available since then. Project 2025 does not speak for any candidate or campaign in any capacity, as Trump has said over and over again. We are an open book with our materials available online. How terrifying. Our aim is to restore American democracy of, by, and for the people, not the elites who currently control Washington and apparently decide who's going to run for the Democratic Party. Apparently. Well, it's not apparently, it actually just is fact, right? Let's see. The real policy recommendations: secure the border, thoroughly enforcing existing immigration laws, Okay, that sounds fine. Aggressively constructing a wall on our southern border. It's getting better. Efficiently identifying and rejecting fraudulent asylum claims. Wow, this is sounding really good. Restoring the Remain in Mexico policy for people awaiting asylum claims. Well, yeah, why not restore that? It seemed to work. Arresting, detaining, and removing of immigration violators anywhere in the United States, which is what every other country does. It's not extreme. I mean, everybody does that. Well, actually, that's most countries do that outside of like insane Western countries. I guess Canada is no longer just removing immigration violators anymore. It's kind of spreading, unfortunately. But if you get outside of that, the rest of the world, you're there illegally, they kick you out. All right. So, how about unleashing American energy? That doesn't sound terrifying to me. Let's see. Ensuring access to abundant, reliable, and affordable energy. No brainer. Removing efforts to push sustainable development schemes connected to food production. Yeah, you don't want to mess with food production because you kind of need it. Stop collaboration with and funding of progressive foundations, corporations, international institutions, and NGOs that advocate for climate fanaticism. Again, why should that tax dollars shouldn't be going for that? Let's keep going here. I mean, this is all sensible stuff here. Improve education. Expanding school choice so all children have the option of great education regardless of zip code. All right, these are all just promoting parents' rights in public education so American schools serve parents, not the other way around. This is all stuff that just any conservative is going to agree with. It's hardly extreme. Now let's go to debunking the lies. Okay, terminate the Constitution. At some point, the modern leftists need to understand that when something sounds too good to be true for them, it's not true. It's not. If it sounds too good to be true, now, like that Trump wants to terminate the Constitution, that's just perfect for them. That's perfect. Nothing could be better for them to freak out about, right? But if something's too good to be true, it's probably not. Terminate the Constitution. The Heritage Foundation wants to terminate the Constitution. Project 2025 actually represents an attempt to restore constitutional governance, not terminate it. Again, this is all standard conservative stuff. No conservative think tank is going to want to terminate the Constitution. That's insane. Only an idiot would believe that. Bringing the administrative state more firmly under the control of the president, whose authority traces directly from the Constitution, could not be further from terminating this quintessential founding document. Now, you can quibble with that. Maybe you don't want the president to have more control. And I think they're talking there about more control of who's working under him. And we're talking about the permanent bureaucratic state. But that is not terminating the Constitution. Give the government more power over your daily life. Again, Heritage Foundation, they obviously don't want that. Project 2025 aims to weaken the bureaucracy that churns out tens of thousands of pages of rules every year. A more restrained administrative state translates into less control over Americans' daily lives, not more. I mean, this is just obvious. Let's see. Gut democratic checks and balances on presidential power. Let's see. Project 2025 would not undermine Congress's authority to pass bills, override vetoes of them, or impeach a president, nor the people's authority to choose the electors who select a president. Those democratic checks on a president's power remain, and Project 2025 supports them. Project 2025 aims to make the administrative state more democratic, more receptive to the people's will expressed in a presidential election. And again, right now, the Republican Party has a candidate that they voted for. They're the only one that has that right now. Let's see. So they're basically just trying to counter everything that's said against them. right? Like, here's one they won't like for sure. Outlaw pornography. True. Project 2025's mandate for leadership calls for the criminalization of pornography production, distribution, and consumption. Pornography has no claim to First Amendment protection, and its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. Their product is as addictive as any illicit drug and psychologically destructive as any crime. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I can't just say outright, well, yes, blanket, because what counts as it? Does a nipple count as pornography? This is a difficult one. This is not just my libertarian, hackles start to come up when I see stuff like this, right? So there's something the left could be freaked out about. Now, as it is now, where it's just, you can start to think of things like, I don't know, should you have to verify your age properly in like a meaningful way? Or should free pornography not exist? Right? Like video, I don't know. There's already laws against, lots of kinds of pornography. And what counts as what? I don't know. Like what would count as pornography? Like, are you talking about like what Playboy magazine count as that? I don't know. But the very worst kinds are already illegal and people go to prison for those. So yeah, that's one there where I'm not sure about that, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that's, again, my libertarian hackles start to come up a little bit there. Not that I'm a libertarian, but I'm kind of a mix of a lot of stuff. Let's see. Bans contraceptives. False. Project 2025's mandate for leadership says nothing about banning or restricting contraception. Well, let's go into the document. Let's do a search. Okay. Let's do a search here for contraceptives. Okay. Let's find out. Now I'm looking at this I'm looking at this particular search for the first time. I haven't searched this in this document yet. Eliminate the week after pill from the contraceptive mandate as a potential abortifacient. I hope I said that right. One of the emergency contraceptives covered under the HRSA Preventative Services Guideline is Ella. That's ulipristal acetate. Like its close cousin, the abortion pill something. Ella is a progesterone blocker and can prevent a recently fertilized embryo from implanting in a woman's uterus. HRSA should eliminate this potential abortifacient from the contraceptive mandate. So what is the claim? The claim is ban contraceptives. So this is not like a condom or something. This is a week after pill. So this would be in a different class. So you can agree or disagree on that, but they're not banning condoms and the pill. Let's see. So, and that's the only mention of contraceptives in the entire document. Okay, end marriage equality. False. What are they saying there? The legal recognition of same-sex marriage is not discussed in Project 2025's mandate for leadership. Mandate calls for the protection of faith-based grant recipients who maintain support for traditional definition of marriage. Mandate also supports conscience protections for those who do not wish to participate in same-sex marriages. So the claim is end marriage equality. Okay, so let's do a search. Marriage equality. So that is not in this document in any of the 890 pages. And there's one mention of the word marriage is only used once as well. Let's see. These are the mediating institutions that serve as the building blocks for any healthy society. So, okay, that's it. So apparently they just made that up as well. Let's see. How about ban IVF? IVF is not mentioned anywhere in Project 2025's mandate for leadership. So let's take a look at that. IVF, is it in there? IVF. No, it doesn't come up. IVF. Nope, not in there. Okay, so that's another lie. Shut down the Department of Education. Let's see. It calls for the end of the Department of Education since the department Project 20. So that is true. Project 2025's mandate for leadership calls for the end of the Department of Education. Since the department was created, educational outcomes have not improved. And the American school system has increasingly fallen behind other countries, giving more control back to state and local governments. And expanding school choice would improve educational outcomes for all Americans, especially underprivileged communities. Just want to adjust that. Okay. Some functions of the department would be moved to other departments, including labor, justice, or commerce. So giving more control back to state and local governments and expanding school choice. So they want to, like Roe versus Wade, they want to move it back to the states again. Okay, that doesn't seem crazy to me. In fact, it seems a lot more democratic. Let's see. End free and discounted school lunch programs. How about that? They're saying that's false. Well, let's take a look. Let's search it. School lunch. Okay. The National School Lunch Program. What do they want to do here? So they're just listing food, nutrition programs here. National School Lunch Program. Let's see. Move USDA food and nutrition programs to the Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, well, let's move to the next mention. It's apparently on 4 pages. That's the same place we just were. Return to the original purpose of school meals. Federal meal programs for K-12 students were created to provide food to children for low-income families while at school. Today, however, federal school meals increasingly resemble entitlement programs that have strayed far from their original objective and represent an example of the ever-expanding federal footprint in local school operations. So they want it to be for low-income families. Okay, well, I don't know. That makes sense. I'm not seeing the crazy here. I mean, I guess the most crazy somebody could freak out about would be banning porn, which, I mean, if they banned it, I don't know. I'm not going to cry, I guess. I just think that's a tricky one because where do you draw the line exactly? I mean, I don't want to have to hide my my classic Playboys, Really, one of the best things about being a kid, about being like 10, was like being at the creek that was close to my house in the woods there and just stumbling across this old torn Playboy in like 1980. And it was just like a treasure. And all the kids would gather around and look at the pictures. Wonderful memories. I can't wait to grow up. That's what we said. Let's see. End the Affordable Care Act. Project 2025's mandate for leadership offers policy suggestions to curb the abuses of the Affordable Care Act. Okay. Raise prescription drug prices. Why would they put that into their manifesto? Like, we want to raise prescription drug prices. Again, it's all just a little bit too on the nose. Project 2025's Project 2025's Mandate for Leadership offers proposals to lower drug prices through competition and innovation. Okay, so again, this thing is 890 pages. 890 pages. Almost nobody. Again, I just downloaded this thing like yesterday, right? So I haven't read the whole thing. I've kind of gone through and scanned and searched for terms to see what, what at least in specific cases, what they're actually saying. They're talking about what they're accusing them of wanting to like end Medicare and Medicaid. Right. Well, I looked up that section and no, they just want to restructure it. They want to restructure exactly how that's all going to play out. Again, this whole thing, it's 890 pages. It's not really offering like detailed specifics in it either. Just saying, hey, there's a lot of money being wasted here. Why don't we restructure it and not waste the money and still have the program and have it work better? So I don't know. I mean, look, the thing is, I don't want to waste too much time on this because it's irrelevant. This isn't Trump's policy thing. This is just a think tank, one out of, look at all of these conservative think tanks, and that's just the big ones, right? It's just they wrote something, which they all do, and the left-wing think tanks are all writing policy prescriptions and transitional papers and all this kind of, they're all doing this all the time. They just decided, because people are gullible, to just pick one and say, aha, look. They say that they're not connected to any candidate. Trump says it's got nothing to do with him. There. I'm not going to read 890 pages of something that's totally irrelevant. I mean, I'm sure Heritage Foundation has lots of great ideas, some bad ones, but it doesn't matter. It's a waste of my time because it's irrelevant. This document is just a thing that think tanks do, and they all do it, and they're doing it constantly. It's why they exist. So I say, fuck it. I don't care. If anybody's disappointed that I'm not going to read the 890-page irrelevant Project 25 book, I'm sorry. I don't have time. If it mattered, if Trump said, yeah, this is my plan, okay, then I'll start reading it. At that point, it matters. But it doesn't matter because we've been over this. We've been over this. Let's go back. And then we can just leave this thing behind, and hopefully I will never have to bother with it again.
Are you ready? I know nothing about Project 25. I haven't seen the document. I don't intend to really see the document. And it's a group of people that got together that wrote some kind of a dream document for them. Right. But it has absolutely nothing to do with me. And it's just disinformation, Brian, by the Democrats. It's pure disinformation. Are you ready? I know nothing.
There. That should settle it for everybody. Let's take a look at the chat here real quick. Oh, the chat is busy tonight. Let's see. Let's see. C. McCandless. Welcome to the chat. Now, we're talking about the Olympics here. Used to watch the games, not anymore. Well, let's go back to what the Olympics have apparently become. Let's see. We might as well get it on the screen while we're talking about it. We're going to spend some time on this tonight, but quickly, there we go. Used to watch the games, not anymore. Why France? It's all invaded by Islam. Why there? Who's the sick creeps that thought that mock-up of Jesus Christ? Yeah, so it's like a mock-up of the Last Supper they're doing. And it's just like, it feels like they're just saying to the rest of the world, just destroy us. Just destroy us. We're doing it ourselves already, but speed it up. We're trying to speed it up. Let's see. We got we have a gay actor named Michael Douglas in the chat. Good to see you again. Let's see. Let's see. I think you meant RB is streaming, but it's just his logo. It should be up now. That's 7 minutes ago, so it should be up now. Let's see. Xerxes says 3/4 of this is to go. Let's go back to here again. 3/4 of this is to go back to state control. All good. Yeah, and it's a modern conservative thing. Put things back to the states. Right? It's more democratic that way. It's better than centralized control. I personally prefer less centralized control. Pretty much any time. You've got to have some, but as little as possible. Xerxes says, yeah, France and Britain being conquered. Yeah, they're doing it to themselves. It's really sad. I mean, look, if you just look at the demographics, I mean, they're going to be like caliphates in 50 years, right? Because they're not refilling their own population. They're not reproducing, and they're bringing in mass immigration. In England, it seems like most of it from like places like Pakistan. They're bringing in enormous amount of Muslims. They have large families, so demographically they're going to be replaced. The monarchy will be abolished. These will be Sharia countries. France too. I mean, we've seen that Islam is extremely resistant to assimilation, extremely. And it seems that in France and in places like Britain, the second and third generations are actually more fundamentalist than the original people. The original people were moving to get away from that. Let's see. Dreamer says these people have nothing but lies at this point. They can't even really turn the wording, just a lie. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just hysterical lying panic. Well, this is a good point from Xerxes here. Europeans were indoctrinated after World War II to think all nationalism was Nazism. So they've allowed the European Union to dismantle national sovereignty. I just read that. Yeah, it's a weird thing that, like in the post-war, and then I guess you can kind of see because, okay, so you had most of the people who died in Europe in World War II were Soviets and Germans. So Germans and Russians, right? And the Russians were on our side. So it's, the enemy of our enemy is our friend kind of thing. But what's happened in the intervening decades is that they're just going to focus on the fascists who, to my mind, I believe that it's just a sister ideology really to like socialism. I mean, Nazis were the National Socialist Workers Party after all. They had lots of socialist programs, lots of things that, Bernie Sanders or Justin Trudeau like. I'm not saying they're the same thing, obviously. I'm just saying that there's socialism in there, right? But they focused on Nazis, tried to convince us that they're actually right-wing, which they're not. And that nationalism, they were very nationalist. Guess what? Guess what the Soviets called the war, World War II? Guess what they called it? They called it the Great Patriotic War. Sounds a little bit nationalist to me. So they were not above using nationalism either. But the focus has all been on the Nazis and the lie that they were right wing, and just a completely ignoring, Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, as if it's a great tragedy of Western civilization. right? This focus on nationalism being the greatest possible evil, and we've ignored everything else. Just the Nazis in Germany. So if you like your country, you're a Nazi. This is apparently what we're supposed to think. And we've just completely ignored the other great leftist monsters of the 20th century, like Lenin and Stalin and Mao. It's actually a tragedy. It's a tragedy for Western civilization. Let's see. Streamer says, or the truth on one occasion so far, banning porn. I get the old school lib in you, but it would not make society worse off. I could live with it as well. This is the thing, right? It's complicated. Would it make society worse off to ban it? I don't think so. I'm not totally shut off to the idea. It just kind of, it's one of those, you have to, how do you define what it is one of the problems. It's maybe not even really workable now, but it's certainly like just having it free 24/7 every day of the year for anybody of any age to get on the internet. That's not good. That's not workable long term. That at least that's something that needs to be dealt with. He'll be way better off if you can just go back to magazines and pharmacies, right? Although when I was a kid, I did steal those as well. But, there was some risk to it. It was harder. You had to have a bit of courage. Yeah, that's what we should go back to. Let's see. McCandless says, I think 1 million people should sue the hell out of the mainstream media for inciting violence for the last 9 stinking years. There are thousands of pieces of evidence to convict them. Yeah, maybe like a class action suit. I wonder if that could work. Can you sue them for the lies as well? I mean, they sued Alex Jones for $1 billion. Let's see. Hold on a sec, you guys. Oh, Xerxes says, like vaccine claims, we could put them out of business. We got JJ Nevada in the chat. All right. You guys, there's too much chat. I can't go through all of it. Radio Streamer says, also, it's a little shame about it having to buy it in a bookstore. So back to my idea of that we just revert back to the 80s, and in order to get porn, you have to buy a magazine in a pharmacy. I think that's a great plan. Let's go back to that. Everything was better then. Everything was better then. All right. You know what? I'm going to take a second to read an ad. Let's read this one. All right, people, are you ready? 2/3 of Americans are at risk. They are at risk of blackouts from heat waves, especially if you're in a place like California with crazy energy policies and they haven't fixed up their energy grid. That's why 2/3 of Americans are at risk of blackouts from heat waves. Are you prepared? Claim your power independence from our country's crumbling power grid with the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. Patriot Power Generator 2000X. Over 150,000 Americans, that's a lot, trust these powerful solar generators to run things like their fridge, fans, TV, CPAP, and more during an emergency. Get yours today at 4patriots.com and score a free 100-watt solar panel. A free 100-watt solar panel. If you're ready to have the ultimate in blackout protection and get a free solar panel, go to 4patriots.com now. 4patriots.com now. And this is serious stuff. I mean, run your fridge, fans, TV, CPAP, and more during an emergency. Useful to have, especially when you've got a crumbling power grid. 4patriots.com and get a free solar panel. You know what to do. All right, so let's move on. So what do you know? What do you know? FBI confirms Trump was struck by a bullet. Yes, so this is after do I have the clip here from Ray still? Let me just see. Here we go. Okay, let's look at this.
I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So I think with
it's unbelievable.
With respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that.
Turns out there's no question. Why did he just offer that up? Unbidden. He just decides to throw that out there. While the media is busy coronating Kamala Harris and going on a full-on media propaganda campaign to support her. He just throws that out. Nobody asked him that. He just throws that out. Oh, well, maybe he didn't get shot. To diminish what happened to Trump? Is that why? While they're busy coronating and lionizing Kamala Harris? All of a sudden, they all love her. They didn't seem to love her that much before. All of a sudden, they love her. And then right away, it comes, I guess that was just too ridiculous, too goofy. Xerxes got clown faces. Yeah, that's clown. That's clown world right there. Nevada says, how long did that take the FBI? I think it just took him a day. And the idea that was 12 days after the assassination attempt, by the way. The idea that he didn't know at that point, I mean, either it's gross incompetence or he's lying or he's just saying something politically motivated. FBI confirms Trump was struck by a bullet. Wow. They confirmed the thing that everybody saw, like everybody in the world saw on a video that was captured from several angles. They confirmed the thing that we all saw with the photo, which is real, of the bullet in the air by Trump's head. They just confirmed that thing. It is utter clown world. It's utter clown world at this point. That's the FBI director, Christopher Wray. He just comes out and says, come on. The whole thing, I mean, the whole thing, from how it happened all the way through the investigation, where are the press conferences? Shouldn't there be regular official press conferences that are covered by every channel, informing the public, going through, maybe having, putting up some like little animations of trajectories, Where's all of that? The whole thing is rotten to the core from top to bottom. From top to bottom, all the way up to Christopher Wray throwing out bullshit to try and undermine Trump. Streamer says, still no less of a badass either way, so damn sad and weak on their side. Yeah, it's pathetic, isn't it? Xerxes says, wow, 2 weeks later, really moving forward. Yeah, time is flying. The news is coming in so fast. So much is happening. I mean, you had that, then Biden drops out, then you got Kamala, and then you got all the propaganda that we're going to get to. We're going to get to some of that. The Federal Bureau of Investigation confirmed on Friday that former President Donald Trump was, in fact, struck in the head by a bullet during an assassination attempt 2 weeks ago, which just the entire world saw. The entire world saw it. Quote, what struck the former president in the ear was a bullet, whether whole or fragmented into smaller pieces, fired from the deceased subject's rifle, the FBI said in an official statement. The Bureau's statement comes after FBI Director Christopher Wray sparked intense controversy this week when he falsely suggested that something other than a bullet may have struck Trump. Again, you can't make it any more obvious that the fix is in. You know, maybe Trump injured his ear on a slightly sloped roof. Maybe that's what happened, right? Guess we'll have to wait for the FBI to tell us. Let's see. The New York Times conducted a thorough video, audio, and trajectory analysis this week that found that Trump was hit by a bullet and not any kind of debris. Again, I have to wonder why. Well, we know why, but why aren't we seeing these official, regular press conferences to update the public? Again, they can do up a little mock-up animation to show where the bullets are going, where everybody was, right? Do you think the press wouldn't show up for that? Of course they would. Where are they? Where are these high-profile press conferences that should, if it was Biden, you better bet there, or Kamala, you better bet there every single day. They'd be obsessing over it. Again, the whole thing is rotten from top to bottom. Here, the photo. Zoom in right above President Trump's shoulder, and you'll see the bullet flying in the air to the right of President Trump's head following an attempted assassination. It's almost as if they're trying to make it transparent that something is really, really wrong. And they are just against Trump. Auntie Pop, how you doing? He's saying, guy in a Trump mask with an exploding ear. I think they're actually saying that, aren't they? Aren't they actually saying that? He's saying, masks are good now. See that video. Yeah, I've seen the videos. They're not that convincing to me. All right. So on this same topic, Trump's going back to Butler. Can you believe it?
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Trump is determined to hear the lamentations of their women. But their women are lamenting all the time anyway, the leftist ones. They're constantly lamenting. It gets a bit much after a while, I've got to say. Trump to hold rally in town of assassination attempt to honor supporters who were shot. The man's a fucking badass. Come on. There is. He's tempting fate. I mean, the fact nobody would have held it against him. Nobody would have held it against him if he had just shut down the rallies. Nobody would have said anything about it. You know, fair enough. It's getting pretty dangerous out there after years and years of the media and politicians telling everybody who will listen that he's he's new Hitler. Give me 1 second, you guys. Hold on 1 sec. Sorry about that. Just had to check something really quickly. But nobody would have begrudged him if he just said, you know what, it's too dangerous. The media has been too irresponsible and insane, and there's just been too much incitement to violence to continue. But the guy just won't stop. I mean, we're talking, this is real genuine physical courage here. What percentage of politicians would have just said, no, that's it. I'm going to run. I'll do a Biden. I'll run the campaign from the basement now. Not Trump. And the thing is, that's even more insane. I hope that he's bringing in some private security or something, because clearly he cannot rely on the Secret Service at this point. Obviously. I mean, this is a very dangerous thing for him to do. There's going to be copycats. People will see. I've seen like how easy it is. People are going to assume, the far left nut jobs are going to assume that the Secret Service is saying it's open season. You have to assume there's going to be copycats. I mean, maybe they really will lock it down now, but when you dive into the details of what happened at that rally that day, that Saturday, like it's the odds that it's just a series of unbelievably catastrophic errors over and over again, I just think the odds are too high, right? I mean, each one of these things had to be at least a 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 mistake. And people are trained with this stuff. They're trained to get the person you're protecting off the stage if there's a threat. Don't take them up onto the stage if there's a threat. Where's the most obvious place for a shooter? Make sure that's covered. If there's somebody suspicious, just get them out, detain them. All these things that are just normal. They're supposed to be normal. Catastrophic error after catastrophic error. Again, this would give me nightmares. This would keep me up at night if I was Trump going, kind of seems like they wanted me to die. Let's see. Nevada says, seems like it was a setup to me. To me, it was clearly an inside job to me. I'm willing to say that. In fact, actually, now that we're talking about that, I think it's probably time to turn off the YouTube stream, because YouTube likes to delete my videos and censor my videos and demonetize my videos when I talk about issues that I guess it doesn't want me to talk about. So it's an hour and 20. I think it's time that we close down the YouTube, and then we can just speak freely, can't we? So anybody on YouTube right now who wants to continue with the show, because we're gonna continue on Rumble. We're gonna keep going on Rumble, but we're just gonna shut down the YouTube side of it. So jump on over to Rumble. The water's great. We've got a great community over here. You'll fit right in. You'll have a great time. You don't want to miss out. In any case, thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll see you all on Rumble in a couple of moments, where we're going to continue.